Hello, y'all. I am Clint, and I like to write comic books. And this is not about making comic books. This is about making films. But I think a lot of this applies. This is from South by Southwest, and yes, it is a meeting of the minds of some of the most into it SJWs that you can possibly find anywhere. But every once in a while, you get something that's genuinely good and useful, and it doesn't matter. So Mark Duplass gave this speech about getting into indie films, becoming a director, just making films, whether you're a director or whatever. He said the same thing kind of applies if you're an actor as well, how to actually do it. And the point of this was that the cavalry isn't coming. I thought this was really, really important. And I think there's some ways that I've seen it apply to comics as well. If you haven't seen this speech, I would say go watch it for sure. I'm going to show a little clip of it. Disclaimer though, when you watch it, he talks about communism. I know it's kind of a joke, but you're kind of like, what? And then the other part of it is you might have to stretch this a little bit to make it fit for indie comics. Generally speaking though, I think this is very apt. Let me play just a little bit of it.
But this is where the good news starts to come in, okay? Because you're going to look back at your career and say, okay, I made critically acclaimed short films and ran around and made some friends at a festival. I made 2 micro-budget features, one with Randy Hercules. I got a TV show licensed with Randy and Dingleberry.
I got to tell you, those 2 actors' names are made up in case you're confused. But Randy Hercules and Dingleberry, 2 made-up actors in his fictional career path.
I'm making some money. I'm producing films for my friends. How is it possible that the cavalry is not coming anymore? I've done so much. And the good news of this is, who gives a about the cavalry? Because now you are the cavalry. I'm going to Tony Robbins you for a second. You are the cavalry.
All right, great point. It's something I've thought about quite often before I've really thought of it this way. And it kind of takes me back into, I don't know, little history, okay, on me. Maybe this might get a little personal, I guess. But so I love playing music and I loved writing music. And I played in a lot of bands and stuff. And if you were around earlier in my channel, I showed a few of some clips. Like my band was on Park City TV, and we had some fun opportunities. Ultimately, I actually got tired of that kind of thing. But when I was doing it, I realized that what you needed was a front man for the band. You needed somebody that was going to be able to sing really well and be the charisma of the band and just lead things. This was important. So for me, I kept thinking, how am I going to find this person that can do it? And let me be able to play the guitar and contribute however I want, and them be the leader of this thing and be that glue that we need. The truth is that person never existed, and if they did exist, why on earth would they come and ask me to start a band with them? Anybody that was wanting to start a band with me probably didn't have that special sauce really that they needed. And so I realized that I needed to step up and kind of do that position and learn how to sing and all that kind of stuff. Not going to pretend that I was the best musician or the best front man in the world, or that I'm the most charismatic, especially on stage, but it was a lot of fun, and that is the thing that enabled me to be able to do it. If I didn't step forward and fill that role, then I would not have been able to do it. I would be at home playing the guitar by myself for nothing. No one to hear, no one to listen to the songs that I'd written, none of the crazy stories that you get from, playing at bars late at night, and doing gigs all the time, every weekend. All that kind of stuff would not have happened if I wasn't willing to step up and be the front man that we needed. Now, I think that Mark's point here is important, and that is in film, I hear people think the same thing. You want to make film, you want to make movies, you want to be a director, you want to be an actor. And so you're waiting for somebody else to come and give you a job, to reach out and discover you for all of the greatness that you have inside and to recognize it and to give you that shot. The truth is that that's probably not going to happen. At least it's not going to happen unless you make it happen, essentially. I can tell you from my personal experience when it comes to writing comics, I love writing. I love it. There's something that I feel so driven to do, and it's even down to music. I really enjoy writing music. I used to do that a lot more in the past. I wrote novels, loved that. There's something about comics that was so difficult to get through, and that is that you need to have, at least in my case, needed to have a creative team around me in order to actually make it come alive. It's not something I could really fully do by myself. And so I was willing to believe that I went back into the same mindset that I needed somebody else to come rescue me. I needed some fantastic artist to fill that little void that I had and bring my project to life so that we could get out there and make it. Now, I've worked with several artists since, and I've realized that that was a nonsense. That's not how you should approach things. I'm the one that is the guy seeking the artists and offering jobs to make it happen, because if I don't do that, then nobody else is going to do it for me. Now, the experience that Mark Duplass here explained was that basically he started with something really small and cheap, and he made something that was just selfish, I guess, just for him in order to get something out there. And then he sent it out to people so people could see it. He didn't just make it and, have it hidden or just for his friends. He put it out there and it was flawed, and he accepted the fact that it was flawed, but he still got it out there. Next, he made a movie that basically was the same, but with a little bit more oomph this time. And, he got some actor into it, which was this Randy Hercules figure. And he convinced this figure that it would be a good shot to try it out with him because he had nothing to lose and it would fill that creative niche. Or basically, I guess if you're talking about an artist or somebody else, you're going to be giving them something. This is so important in comics. If you want to write comics, or if you want to be an artist in comics, or whatever it is that you want to do, what is your thing, you've got to figure out something that you're bringing to the table that you can offer that creative team. Something that makes you attractive as a comic book writer, a professional, an artist, anything. You've got to figure out what it is. What is your secret sauce? Now, for me, I would never have thought that making YouTube videos would have mattered. I would never have thought that so many people would be willing to watch these videos, but this has been really, really crucial for me. Whatever it is, I'm not going to pretend to be able to identify exactly what it is that I'm providing, but I do know that I've worked really hard at trying to be heard every day and get out there and meet people. And that has really helped me and open up doors. So now that I have my book Downcast fully funded, overfunded, and the book is, we're starting to come to a close with getting all of the artwork finished, and we're going to get it published and out and into your hands. Does that mean that I can now turn around and I've got editors from Marvel and DC jumping over themselves to come and offer me a job? The answer is no. And Mark Duplass explains that really, really well. You will think that once you've achieved this certain milestone that you can look over and suddenly the industry is going to accept you and they're going to want you and they're going to throw money at your feet. That's just not the case. You still have to be the cavalry yourself. The cavalry's not coming. You have got to go out and make it happen. So you make the next book, it's going to be a little bit bigger. Make the next book, whatever. I'm still in the process of all of this, so I'm not going to pretend to have figured it out. But what I know is that when I was really trying to get a publisher to look at me and consider me and pay me in order to write or make a book or whatever, it didn't seem like there was any possible way to do it and make any money at it, let alone make a full-time living. The truth is, once I took this into my own hands, and I've seen many other people do it better than me, they're farther down the track than me, others are just starting. Once you've taken it into your own hands and you've taken that personal responsibility on to be the front man of this venture, this is where I've seen doors open up now. I can actually see a pathway to writing comics full time. I don't know exactly when this is going to happen, but I do know that if I'm working really hard and putting out the best quality content that I can and listening to people, listening to my readers, they're going to tell me what I need to do in order to serve them and make that dream a reality. 2019, 2020, most people would tell you, and if you looked at sales numbers for comics, that this is not the time to be breaking into comics. This is a terrible idea to try and get into comics. So many people can't find work. They've got nothing. The difference here is that there's an opportunity directly, like skipping the cavalry, skipping those big companies that are going to throw you a bone if you sell your soul and any ability you have to free speech to them. If you skip that and go directly to the customers, now suddenly 2019, 2020, this is actually a time that is really exciting for comics. This is a time when you can look back, as Mark explained here, you can look back at your career and realize that you've done a lot of things that you're proud of. You've made some money. You have got a career behind you. You might not be producing or directing those giant blockbuster movies, but is that really what you wanted to do? And I've thought about this a lot. Is that what I really want to do? No. I have so many stories that I want to not just make, but I want to spend the time and make wonderful. I want to make them great, something I can look back and be very proud of. When I look at titles coming from the big publishers, that's not what I see. And it's really frustrating. I'm not going to say all the time. There are probably some books that people really, really put their heart and soul into, and they make some good stuff. But when I look at it, so much of it feels like it's a creator that's trying to make some money and trying to get it done, meet a deadline, get it out of their hands and move on. And they're moving on and they're trying to find something else, anything else. Like here I'm looking at Matthew Rosenberg said, I wish more comic creators spent less time trying to figure out how to get out of comics and more time trying to figure out how to put more people in comic shops. It's not a good time right now. If you look at comic shops, if you look at the traditional system for how things have been sold and created, and there's so many comic creators that don't want to be there. It seems like they're not putting everything into the books because they don't care. They'd rather be in television or they'd rather be somewhere else where maybe they're making some more money. And I can't fault somebody for wanting to make more money. The problem is they haven't figured out how to do it in comics. The truth is, I and many others have figured out, or at least found a path, that if the customers, the readers themselves, are willing to give me a shot and are willing to read my book and throw a little money to support it, they're the ones that get to decide what my future as a creator is in comics. And I think that is what's going to lead to the best comics. Thank you for listening. I hope all of that made sense. Really, really interesting topic. If you haven't checked out my comic book, Downcast, we're $150-ish away. Oh no, we got another backer. Awesome. We're less than $100 away from hitting 30K. Thank you very much, everybody. This is an example. This represents not just getting this book published. This has opened the door. I can't even tell you. This has opened so many doors for me and possibilities so that I can continue to make other comics. I'm not right now making money and putting it in my pocket. I'm using this money to fund more books and to raise the bar and to work really hard and compete and try to be an incredible comic book writer and bring you incredible stories. So I really appreciate all of your support. If you haven't backed it, I just say check it out in the link in the description below. We've got new artwork. We're getting closer to the end of this campaign. I'm really, really excited to get this to you, and I'm excited to see what the future brings. And again, it's all up to you. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.